Hey everyone, this is Pete, and today I thought I'd take a bit of time to take a look at an upcoming Evercade release that is also a C64 classic. We're going to be taking a look at Hunter's Moon from Thalamus, which is part of the Thalamus Collection 1 cartridge for Evercade. Full disclosure at this point, I'm an employee of Blaze, makers of the Evercade, which is why I've got an early copy of this cartridge. This is not an official Blaze video though, and don't worry, I checked with my bosses to be sure it's okay I make videos like this. And it is, so here we are. Hunter's Moon was first released in 1987. It was developed by Martin Walker, who was quite a prolific developer throughout the C64's lifespan, both as a programmer and a musician, and it featured music by Matt Gray, who likewise has a number of excellent C64 titles under his belt. Hunter's Moon is ostensibly a shoot-'em-up, though it carries a strong strategic, almost puzzle-like element to it. The game's levels, which are procedurally generated with a fixed seed to ensure the same game every time, were inspired by the children's toy Spirograph, with the in-game worker cells producing geometric patterns that the player has to blast their way through with good timing in order to rescue sparkling star cells. The version of Hunter's Moon on the Evercade cartridge is the remastered version from 2018. This adds a full animated intro to the game, plus additional features such as a fully randomized mode. The core gameplay and presentation is identical to the original, however, making this the definitive way to play Hunter's Moon, whether it's on a real C64, on emulation, or on Evercade. I'm going to do my best to teach you how to play this game and what to watch out for today, though I do so on the understanding that it's a tricky game I'm not all that good at. With that caveat firmly in place, let's go play Hunter's Moon.
Okay, here we are with Hunter's Moon Remastered from the Thalamus Collection 1 for Evercade. Having found yourself lost in space, your goal is to collect the mysterious alien star cells containing the valuable navigation data that will get you home. Blast through the constantly regenerating hive and use the white dots on your radar to locate the star cells. If you can collect 4 star cells during the countdown while they're flashing, you'll jump to the next star system once the current level has been completed. Otherwise, you'll need to clear all levels in the star system to proceed. Can you find your way home to Hunter's Moon? Yeah, so this is a cool game. It's a tricky game that you will probably die very quickly in the first time you try it. But take your time, as Katie says down at the bottom. Take your time and observe the hive patterns carefully. It's easy to run straight into disaster if you simply go in all guns blazing. So, let's fire it up. Excuse me. It was almost a huge belch, but it wasn't. Anyway, let's have a look at the intro. So this was newly added for the remastered version that came out in 2018. The Martin Walker game. Hunter's Moon. Memlog, Hunter 1, THMW1. Finally managed to bum a ride to Veldin Spaceport in the Orvus sector. Can't hitch my way across the entire galaxy though. Time to hustle. Look at the quality of the animation there though, that's amazing. When you consider it's a C64 doing this. Memlog, Hunter 2, THMW1. Managed to scrape together some credits to enter a high stakes Baccarat game. Maybe I can win enough to buy a ship and get off this rock. Music by Matt Gray. Memlog, Hunter 3, THMW1. The gods were smiling on me. Won myself a ship, one of the trusty old Hunter Mark III's. She's not pretty, but she'll get me home. Or will she? Remastering an additional code from Dan Hotop. Memlog, Hunter 4, THMW1. Or I, maybe the others. What do you know, the old girl still had some juice left in her aging power cells. Maybe luck is on my side after all. Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll have an incompetent idiot at the controls. Cinematic sequences by Robin Levy and Martin Piper. Memlog, Hunter 5, THMW1. Looks like I spoke too soon. Seems like I've attracted the attention of local law enforcement. Time to see what this baby's got. Producer Andy Roberts. Memlog, Hunter 6, THMW1. Got a bit carried away putting Hunter through its paces. Ended up skirting the event horizon of a black hole. Warped me straight here. Or where? Far from home. Far from Hunter's Moon. Just enjoy a bit of that glorious Sid chip music to begin with. Alright, enough of that. Okay, so here we are into the game proper. Now you can just start the game as is, just by pressing the fire button, or the B button. But you can also access a few little settings with the F keys. So F1 changes between 1 and 2 player. You can see that up in the upper left corner. F3 changes between sound effects and music. F5 changes the style of starfield that we've got. And F7 changes between a normal and a randomized game. So that's a new feature for the remastered version. Which, once you think you've mastered the base game of Hunter's Moon, you can then play a completely randomized game and take it from there. But yeah, the original, we're going to play it as it was originally. So with sound effects, with a fixed layout and so on. Pilot 1, prepare for launching. Okay, so you have a moment to sort of get your bearings before you start the level. You can look at the various parts of the screen. In the upper left, we've got the score. Upper right is the high score. Lower left, that blank space is where a code will appear if we collect star cells quick enough. The bit that says R at the moment, that will display a countdown for collecting flashing star cells, like it mentioned in the description. L001 is just the level number. The little cross-shaped thing is your radar, and the flashing dot on there is one of the star cells. Now, if you collect the star cell while it's flashing, it'll add a bit to the code in the bottom left. If you collect 4 bits of code and then finish the level, you won't have to do all of the remaining parts of the star system you're in. And finally, the lower right corner is a number of lives you've got left. So let's begin. So, in Hunter's Moon, you can move around in 8 directions. And you can fire. Whoops. And you can crash into things like that. That is probably how your first attempt at Hunter's Moon will go. You will crash immediately into something. You see those white blobs are rebuilding the various structures that you might be wanting to blast your way through. So you've got to time your passage very carefully. So once you've collected all the star cells in a system, you then get this star map. And you push a direction on the controller to pick one of the stars you want to move to next. So if we want to go to this one at the top here, we push up and right. And then confirm by pressing fire. And then again, you repeat the process. Find your way to the star cells. Try not to die, like I've done there. And if you're feeling adventurous, go for the star cells that are flashing on the radar. You see I've now got the letter E has appeared in the lower left corner. The actual content of that code doesn't matter. I don't think the actual details of what numbers and letters they are. It just shows you how many of 4 bits that you've got. Right, let's move to this one next. And again, we've got a flashing one here. And I've crashed again. Now what you can do is you can accumulate more flashing star cells. If you collect one and then die, you can then get another one from the same level. So that way, if you're getting particularly beaten up by a star system, as long as you can collect the flashing star cells in time and then complete that one level, you won't have to do the rest of the star system. Which is nice, isn't it? That's nice and generous. It wasn't quite in time for that one, so I didn't get another bit of the code. But this is the last part of the star system anyway. There we go. Right, so that's the star system clear. Prepare to enter sub-game. What happens in the sub-game is you're fixed in place and you have to try and destroy the worker cells, which are the white blobs that are drawing the shapes around the screen. But they're also shooting at you. And so if you fail, I don't think you lose the life if you fail though, you just don't get a bonus life. Pilot 1, System 2, beware of attackers. Right, so we now have some of these worker cells will actually shoot at us. As you can see with those sort of noisy blobs that are around the place. So playing Hunter's Moon effectively is all about observing the patterns and timing your movements very carefully to coincide with how those patterns are working. As you see there, I timed that poorly, which meant that as I was attempting to go through the gap I blasted, it was rebuilt over the top of me, which killed me. So not smart. Okay. So yeah, you really want to keep an eye on what those worker cells are doing. And try and position yourself in such a way that you don't end up in their path. Which I am failing to do quite miserably at the moment. Do have 3 parts of a code though. So yeah, although ostensibly this is a shoot 'em up, it's a very slow-paced strategic sort of one. It's not one where going in all guns blazing is going to help you. Right, you see I've got 3 unfinished levels in this star system now. If I can get one more flashing star cell... If I can get one more flashing star cell and finish the level that I collected in... I will skip the rest of this star system. Of course, that is easier said than done. And now I am dead. So let's put my name in. There we go. Right. So, let's have another go. And this time I'll show you a couple of additional things you might want to have a look at. If you pause the game, which is start on the Evercade, and then push a direction, you'll bring up this menu here. And you have a few little options in here. So first of all, you've got engines. And you have a choice of 3 different engines in this one. You've got retros, you've got cruise, and you've got turbo. Retros is the default one. That means when you let go of a direction, you will come to a stop. Cruise, as you might expect, means that if you hold a direction and then release, you will continue moving at a slow speed, like that. If we press start again and change the engines to turbo, I'm sure you can guess, hold a direction and release, and you will keep moving at that maximum speed. So it's up to you which one you choose. One isn't necessarily better than another. But you can choose how you want your ship to handle. You then got the respray option, which allows you to change the colour of your ship. You've got shields, which is self-explanatory. It makes you invincible for a limited period. And then you've got off-duty mode. Now, off-duty mode is just a mode where you can fiddle around with patterns and things. You see the code in the bottom left corner. You can use the directional controls to change the different parts of that code. And that will make pretty patterns appear on the screen. Which is nice. And to get out of that, you just press L1 on the Evercade, and that will take you back into normal play. And unpause it. So, be ready straight away. Okay, so let's take our time. You don't need to rush and get the flashing ones on this one because there's just 4 stages in this solar system anyway. So it's not in our interest to rush by any means. I guess you might get bonus points if you get them while they're flashing, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't been watching the score. Yeah, you get 250 for collecting one normally. Nope. Incorrect. Maybe you do get slightly more points for collecting one while it's flashing. It's hard to tell. You seem to get a different amount for each one. Right, into the sub-game again. So no points for actually blasting the bits of the hive in this one. But if you can destroy all the worker cells, you will get an extra life, I believe. But I'm sure you can appreciate that is not easy. Oh, I've done it. I have done it. Right, on to the next stage. Again, watch carefully, think before you move, and die. You notice that you flash after collecting a star cell as well, so you have a brief period of being shielded after collecting one. Which means that you can take advantage of that and actually sort of put yourself in harm's way if you know that will quickly clear a level. You can also use that to escape from situations that you know are dangerous. There we go. Onwards. Oh, that was nasty. I think I got an extra life for 10,000 points there, though. Which is nice. Right, now this level being obviously dangerous, this might be a good candidate for using our shield. So if we bring up the menu and we go shields and we activate those, we should then be safe. Apparently not. Apparently you're not safe. I guess shields don't make you completely invincible then. Let's try again. So I am shielded. But it looks like you're not shielded against the wall. So you're not shielded against the walls of the hive, but no, I don't understand what's happening there. Right, well, let's activate them again. And just take our time. Well, we cleared the level anyway. I guess maybe it's protecting you from the shots. From the shots that the attackers are doing. Whoops. Death. Alright, let's have a game where let's play with the music. Helps if I press the right button, doesn't it? There we go. Right, so we'll play with music instead of sound effects this time. Just so you can see what a difference that makes to the atmosphere. Now, fortunately, you can't have music and sound effects at the same time. Because as good as the SID chip was, it only had, I believe, 3 channels of sound. And if all of those channels are being used to play music, there's no space left to play sound effects. And so home computer games generally had to make the choice between excluding sound effects altogether while music was playing, or playing sound effects all on one channel and knowing that it would interrupt the music. And most of the time, home computer developers seemed to go for just cut the sound effects out altogether. Because that would allow the music to shine. And there were quite a few examples of music composers who were sort of minor celebrities in the home computer scene of the 80s and early 90s. And with that being the case, a lot of developers wanted to allow those composers' work to shine on their own merits. Oh no. I'm not taking any of my own advice. I got shot there. That's not good, is it? Let's go this way instead. And then this way. You may find that sort of taking a specific route through each level is easier or harder than certain things. So if you're struggling to get a particular star cell first, it may be worth trying to do things in a different order. Because it can often make quite a significant difference. Right, we've got 3 parts of the code for this star system now. So I'll see if I can demonstrate the early warp, but obviously that will depend on me not dying, which, as we've seen, is by no means certain. Alright, if I can get the last bit of the code from here. Right, I've now got 4 bits of code, so if I clear this level, I should be able to skip the rest of this star system. So I just need to be very, very careful. There we go. There we go. So you see 3 unfinished levels, and it's telling me to prepare to enter the sub-game. Because I got the code. There's my 10,000 points and an extra life. And another extra life for successfully clearing the bonus game. Beware of homing in. Alright, so I guess we've got another kind of nasty to deal with. Oops. You'll see the bullets are actually coming from bits of the hive rather than the workers themselves. It's the cells of the hive that are animated, basically, you need to watch out for. So if you destroy those, you can help keep yourself safe. So just another layer of strategy there. Right, we've got a much more complicated star system this time. So again, you can skip most of the levels if you can get the flashing star cells quickly enough. Oops. Not many lives left. Right, final chance. Oh dear me. This is a tricky old game. Right, let's go back to sound effects. I think on balance I prefer... I slightly prefer having the feedback of the sound effects. In fact, I tell you what, let's try a randomized game. See what difference that makes. So we're now in random mode. That's what the R at the top means. So yeah, you see, the first level is now completely different to what it normally is. We're facing attackers straight away. But the actual shape of the star systems is still the same. It's just the individual levels that are randomized. Oh dear, that was silly. I saw it coming towards me. I thought I should move out of the way. I should really move out of the way. And then I just didn't. Let me through. No? Okay. I guess that bit of wall is invincible then. Did it again. Oh, that's very tricky. How on earth do you do this? Is there an easier way to get through? Can we get through here? Nope. Good grief. And we just can't... You just can't destroy those walls. It doesn't look like. Oh god, yeah, that is tough. I guess what you got to do is... Oh no! I guess what you got to do is you got to sneak in ahead of them. You got to make a little hole. That's it, and then sneak through like that. But then how'd you get out again? I don't know. Oh, that's too hard. That's much too hard. Alright. Let's put that back on normal, shall we? Right, let's have one more go. See how we get on with the normal levels. Okay, good. Onwards. So unforgiving. So very unforgiving. But it's fair. It might seem ridiculous when you first play it that you can die that quickly. But it's fair. Like, you stand still at the beginning of a stage and you won't die. You've got time to survey the situation and figure out what it is you should be doing. And you need to take advantage of that. You need to learn these levels. You need to figure out what the optimal route through them is. And how to time passing through the various bits of wall. Alright, on to sub-game. Oops. No bonus for me. The sound effects in this game are some of the most Commodore 64 sound effects I can think of. I've talked about this with my videos on Atari games in the past. in that there are certain sounds and bits of music and things that I inextricably associate with the Atari platform. They're instantly recognisable. I didn't grow up with the Commodore 64, but having got to know it relatively recently, it's become clear to me that there are very much Commodore 64 sounds. Iconic Commodore 64 sounds. And this game is full of them. All these sort of beeps and burbles and whatever, however you describe the sounds in this game. It sounds like a C64 game. And I like that. I like that in this era of computing history, everything looked and sounded very distinct and immediately recognizable. That's one of my favorite things about looking at games from this period. And it's true for both home computers and consoles as well. Because you can immediately tell an NES game from a Master System game, for example. You can immediately tell a Mega Drive game from a Super NES game. And that distinction between platforms lasted for quite a long time. I'd say probably the last generation that it was obvious in was the 32/64-bit era, where you could instantly tell a PlayStation game from an N64 game. In the following generation, if you were looking closely, you could probably tell a PS2 game from an Xbox game, from a GameCube game. Because there are a few little tells here and there. But it wasn't as distinctive a difference as you had between platforms in the 8-bit and 16-bit home computer and console eras. By a long shot. Nope. Oopsie. Okay, hopefully that's given you a good idea of how to play Hunter's Moon anyway. It's a cool game that I really like. It's got a little bit of a learning curve, as most Thalamus stuff does, I would argue. But it's worth taking the time to get to know, because it's a very cool game with some really nice ideas. And very rewarding once you get the hang of it. It's very satisfying to feel like you're getting to grips with these levels and getting a little bit further each time you try. Maybe. I mean, you'll hit a few plateaus like we did today, but you will gradually improve. The more you play, the more you will improve. It's a game that very much rewards practice. So I encourage you to spend some time doing just that. So, we'll leave that there for today. Just remains for me to say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.